Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, you'll notice I'm holding the Strong America Now water bottle because I needed to take a few swigs of water to wash down that good Godfather's pizza that I ate on the way over here. And I know Mike is treating you good, but if you want some Godfather's pizza, you know where to find it over at the Cain tent. I want to thank Mike, I want to thank Simon, and I want to thank you for being involved and making a statement, a strong statement about what we need to do to save this country. You have a lot of people in Washington, D.C. arguing about spending and spending more. You have another group in Washington, D.C. that are talking about cutting, but they're not talking about cutting with a hacksaw. They're talking about trying to tickle it to death. We don't have a revenue problem in Washington, D.C. We have a spending problem in Washington, D.C. And what you represent and what Mike represents and what Lean Six Sigma represent is a disciplined approach to finding a lot of the waste, the abuse in Washington, D.C., which is why I signed the Strong America Pledge. I've gotten beat up by some organizations because I won't sign every pledge that comes my way. You see, I do things a little differently from some of the other candidates. I read the pledge before I sign it. I know that's common sense. But I read the pledge before I sign it. And in most of those pledges, I've already signed it. It's called, I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. That's my pledge. And if you pledge your allegiance to the United States of America, that means you believe in the Declaration of Independence. That means that you believe as the founding fathers believed when they envisioned this nation. That means that you believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. It means that we believe that it should be enforced, not ignored. That's what our pledge to the United States of America is all about. And we also are making a pledge to our grandkids and our kids. The reason that you're here, the reason that you're working for this organization and all of the other organizations, the reason that I'm running for president of the United States, not about us. It's about the kids and the grandkids. It's about the kids and the grandkids. And when we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, we are pledging a better future for our kids and our grandkids, that they get a better one if we don't do something about what's going on in this country. And so people often ask, why are you running for president? Or they'll ask, well, why didn't you run for Congress or Senate before you decided to run for the big job and run for the White House? Well, there are two reasons that I decided to run for the presidency instead of a lower office. Number one, America can't wait for me to work my way up the political ladder. And the other reason, one of the other reasons, in addition to the grandkids, that I decided to run, and I did not grow up saying I wanted to run for president. That was not my lifelong dream. My lifelong dream was make me some money. I was broke. I wanted to make some money. I know it's materialistic, but when you don't have any money, it's also spiritualistic. If you're broke. And so I have achieved my American dreams. Most of you have achieved your American dreams. We got to make sure that our kids and our grandkids can achieve their American dreams. That's what this is about. It's also about solving America's problems. National security will always be the president's number one responsibility. Next to that, we have got to get this economy growing, which is why I have already announced my economic vision for America. It's the only policy thing that I want to share with you because it fits right in with what you're trying to do. While you're trying to make sure that we cut the cost in order to help this nation to get stronger, I'm going to be focused on stimulating, boosting economic growth. Here's how we're going to do it. Phase one, phase two. Phase one, lower the top corporate tax and personal tax rate to 25% maximum, zero tax on repatriated profits. We've got nearly $3 trillion offshore that'll come back home, and take the capital gains tax rate to zero and make all of those permanent. This is how we boost this economy. Now I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is this administration doesn't have a clue that this is how you boost the economy. That's the bad news. So nothing's going to change in the next year and a half. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, because this administration doesn't recognize that the engine of economic growth is the business sector. And if you don't put any fuel in the engine, not going to grow. And so the bad news is this economy is not going to grow. I had a reporter ask me the other day, so what do you think the president needs to do in order to get economic growth going? I said, resign. I'm just saying. Putting fuel in the economic engine is not in his DNA. So this is why it's not going to go anywhere. Now, the good news is, when I'm president, we're not only going to boost this economy, we're going to supercharge this economy with phase two of replacing the entire tax code with the fair tax. Replace it. So we got the economy growing the way it has the ability to grow. And with your help and the leadership of Mike and his organization, you've got costs coming down. That is a winning formula for America to remain an exceptional nation like it is. I will never do an apology tour when I'm president, because we have nothing to apologize about. Nothing to apologize for. Do we need to apologize that we are the first one there in a national disaster anywhere in the world? Do we need to apologize for the aid that we give to people around the world? No. And by the way, the media likes to beat me up and talk about I don't have foreign policy experience. And the guy down now does. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Let me tell you what my approach to foreign policy is. You tell me when I need to stop, Mike. I'm on a roll. Here's my approach to foreign policy. You know, leaders don't have to have all the answers. You need to have the questions, surround yourself with the right people, and you'll get to the answers. That's leadership. So here's my approach Here are a couple of principles in terms of my approach to foreign policy. Number one, clearly identify who our friends are and our enemies are, and stop sending money to our enemies. Number two, we have the best military in the world, and the thing that they do best is they know how to win when we let them. And number three, my approach to foreign policy. If I wouldn't send my son or daughter into battle, I'm not going to send yours. If I'm not willing to risk the life of my own son and daughter or my grandkids, I'm not going to risk yours. And so in closing, because I got to give another speech over at the Coliseum, but I got so much fire going, I might need to go over there and give it now. But in closing, folks, I am optimistic about the future of this country because I'm optimistic about what I call the spirit of America. The spirit of America has brought us this 235 years in our young history. And the spirit of America is what has awakened this sleeping giant called we the people. I applaud what you're doing. We've got to reduce the costs and boost the economy. And that's what this is all about. And I'm thrilled to see so many people out here who are willing to do what they can do. And as the words to a famous song says, life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when there's so much on the line, but you can make a difference. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside and you will find just what you can do. We can take back our government, and we can put America on the right track, and we can make the United States of America united again.